So, as many of my friends and followers know, I will be getting married in about 2.5 months. New Year's Eve is the official date. And with my fiance and I being a Catholic couple, we have decided to pursue natural family planning, also known as NFP. And so I have been listening to so many talks and so many, like, doing so much research. We're enrolled in a course, and I'm learning so much about the female body that I can't even believe I didn't know before. So, first off, before I even get into any religious jargon and just focus on the simple complications with birth control pills, with the contraceptions, the synthetic hormones that we actually would intake while taking the birth control pill. So, I think it's interesting that our culture is so focused on organic. We don't want synthetic hormones in our food. We want everything to be natural. We want, just totally raw goodness for our body. But then we'll turn the corner and take these synthetic hormones that totally modify this perfectly good operating system. When a woman is fertile, it is good. It is how our bodies are meant to be. And when we put these synthetic hormones into our body, it ends up screwing with over 150 physiological functions. Like your eyes can be drier and just different things show up. Unfortunately, so if you're a teenager and you start taking birth control and you're not even 20 yet, women's breasts come to full maturity in their early 20s. And when birth control pills are taken, it gives the body this hormone that's called HCG, and it essentially makes your body think that it's pregnant. So say you're 15 years old and you start taking the pill. All of a sudden your body thinks it's pregnant. The mammary glands are trying to produce this milk, but oh wait, your body's not pregnant. And so since it's not in that fullness of maturity, the body's just totally confused in what's going on. There's a 1 in 8 chance that out of every woman that lives to 85 that we will get breast cancer. 1 in 8. And that's, whatever your history is, et cetera, et cetera. If you're taking a moderate to high dosage of estrogen in your birth control pill, it increases your odds by 50%. So all of a sudden your odds go from 1 in 8 to 1 in 4. So birth control is simply not the best option. I understand some women take it for cramps. There have to be, finding a modification. Peppermint oil is one thing. Using a heat pad. I have to take 2 Midol. Like, if I know that I'm starting one day, I have to take it and stay ahead of the pain. Similar to when, I had a brain surgery and I had to take that medicine before the headache set in, because once that pain came, there was no getting ahead of it. Like, I had to stay ahead of the pain in order to get it to stay away. So same thing goes now, where it's like, I know, Midol is the only thing that works. I can try anything else. It doesn't work. So trying to find a balance with that, talking to the doctor, but birth control is just not the best option as far as that goes. And then when we look at the abortion rates, with the female body, how ovulation works, there is only a 12-hour window that it's possible for a woman to get pregnant per cycle. So when we start looking at how those cycles work, there's a 5 to 6 day window that if you have sex, you could become pregnant, because what happens is when you ovulate, there is an egg that is released from within the ovary and it travels down the fallopian tube. And then you have your endometrium, which is the lining of the uterus. And what happens is if sperm gets to the egg, it fertilizes it and the fetus attaches to the lining and it starts to develop. If the egg is not fertilized, then that's why we have our menstrual cycle. That's why we bleed. It's the shedding of the uterine wall. So as our bodies lead up to ovulation, there is a thickening of the mucus. And what happens is that indicates fertility. Say you have sex 5 days before that ovulation happens, you have about a 3% chance of getting pregnant. And even if you have sex within that 24-hour window, it's only a 43 to 45% chance that you can get pregnant. So it's not even, I've been listening to Professor Janet E. Smith. So I'm getting these numbers from her. She's done the studies. I kind of did some follow-up research. But yeah, so like 3% chance if you have sex 5 days before that ovulation point, and then 43 to 45% chance if you have sex like on the day of ovulation. After you ovulate, your temperature goes up. So you can pay attention to mucus. You can also pay attention to your temperature. And the temperature goes up and it stays up for the rest of that cycle. So then you know that you're infertile. There's no egg. You can't be fertile. You can't get pregnant. This is the stuff that Mother Teresa was teaching the third world country on restricting and like family planning. It's the natural method of sex. And when it comes down to a husband and a wife coming into, I'm giving you the fullness of me, even my fertility. They talk about birth control and how it affects the woman's ability to even judge a man properly, that they would actually, like, they've done studies on women that have smelled men's shirts. The women that were on birth control chose the men that were not that great, and the women who were not on birth control, they chose the men at the top of the evolutionary chain, which is, obviously I don't take birth control. I did for about a 3 to 6 month stint when I was maybe 18 or 19. But like now I'm not, and my fiance to be husband is amazing. Like he is so well accomplished. I mean, founding president of Honor Society at the school. Like he is the president of the American Society for Civil Engineers at Western. Top of his class in civil engineering, just totally, grade A type guy. And if I had been on birth control, the kind of guys I was choosing when I was 18, 19, I hooked up with a guy with a nickname Goof. I mean, not quality guys. I mean, that was, not smart decisions that I was making at that point. And it was immaturity, a lack of knowledge, a lack of knowing what was important. But at the same time, who knows where I would have been if I had been on a little bit different path. So I lived, I learned. I pray that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did, because trust me, I still pay for them today. Past vices sneak up. They stink, okay? So just, if you can avoid it, avoid it. But yeah, so choosing, and then not to mention, Alec was attracted to me. So men are more attracted to women who are actually fertile. They've done studies on monkeys and the fact that, they've had a male monkey and he was mating with these 3 female monkeys. Then they made the 3 female monkeys, to be infertile. They gave them the shot. And then all of a sudden the male monkeys went to go and mate with other female monkeys. And when they gave them the Depo-Provera, they all of a sudden were mating with the other male monkeys. And then they took all that away and they started mating with the female monkeys again. Like, it's crazy. And when we look at this whole increase in this LGBTQ community, we see they've done studies of rivers that are directly downstream from sewage plants in Boulder, Colorado specifically. And they've actually found, it's supposed to be a 1-to-1 ratio for male to female fish. They have found hermaphrodite fish, so fish that are not male or female. They found 97% female fish. So the hormones that women are excreting when they pee is actually affecting the fish. And like, they're actually finding male fish with eggs in their testes. So when we look at that and we see how the hormones are, when we look at women's bodies who, once they take birth control, if they take it for an extended period of time, those hormones stay jacked up. They don't all of a sudden just go back to normal. The testosterone levels are gone. The libido is totally killed. Like, it affects so much. And to have been on birth control, get off of it just to get pregnant, have a baby in this body that has these corrupted hormones, and then all of a sudden go back on the pill to get off it again to have another child. Like, the hormones in our bodies are already crazy enough. I mean, us women, our hormone levels change every single day. And so making sure that those are natural and not something that is a synthetic offering that only came about in the 1960s. This is the newest thing. This is in the last 50 to 60 years, going on 60 years. This is the first time that we've seen anything like this in mankind, okay? Like, our pharmaceutical company has gone so far beyond what it has ever been. Our society and our cultures are way beyond anything that this world has ever seen. So, people say, oh, homosexuality happened back then. But guess what? There have never been TVs. I would have never been able to communicate with you on this. I mean, we look at this election right now. It's crazy because of media, because of the fact that they could record people in 1993 saying whatever it is that they said. So that's a totally different topic. But when we look at birth control, we look at everything that it does. I mean, so this is more Catholic stuff. Pope Paul VI, he had written an encyclical, Humana Vitae, and he basically made 4 prophecies in it. He had said that, number 1, there was going to be more infidelity and moral decline. So when we look at the fact that, a woman's on birth control or a man goes and gets sterilized, he has a vasectomy, all of a sudden he's free to go sleep with whoever the heck he wants without the risk of getting her pregnant. Like, what kind of motivation does it give a man? I mean, if he's a decent man, maybe, but if he's a truly decent man, he wasn't going to get the vasectomy in the first place. You can pay attention to a woman's cycle and know when you can and can't have sex. Like, it's knowing your body. It's honing in on that. It's understanding, like, the class that we're taking was $200. When you look at how much it costs to buy birth control over however many years, trust me, the $200 up front, totally worth it. So infidelity, moral decline. We look at abortions. We look at everything. He predicted that the abortion rate was going to go up because all of a sudden birth control is not 100% effective. Natural family planning has a 99.4% effectiveness rate when used properly. So monitoring temperatures properly, actually like checking, because they have apps now for it. I use one, Cycle Pro Go, and it actually tracks. I wake up in the morning at 6:45, take my temperature, and then I input the temperature, and it tracks it for me. It tells me when I have my peak day, when I actually ovulate, and then I know, and I'm getting used to this now because it's like, okay, I guess I might be ovulating on my honeymoon. Too much information, sure, but if I have a honeymoon baby, now you guys know why. But I mean, yeah, so it's like it's being open to children, but at the same time knowing that there is family moderating. So, okay, back to Pope Paul VI. He did infidelity, moral decline. He said there was going to be a loss of respect for women because all of a sudden women, hunter-gatherer and childbearing, child-rearing, all of a sudden the men who are the hunter-gatherers to bring home the bacon for the woman, like, that was what our purpose was. That was the most respected and it was a big deal to raise kids and bring them up right. And they were going to be the strongest of the pack. They were going to, be the next leaders. And now all of a sudden here we are and it's like, oh, I don't want to have kids until I'm 35. And, it's just, it screws a lot up. So then 3, there's an abuse of power that he said would come about when we look at China with their one-child rule, which is actually now leading to underpopulation due to the fact that everyone wanted males. So now they don't have an equal amount, male to female ratio. So now they're facing a whole different problem and people are having a hard time getting out of that mindset, just like Poland has a hard time getting out of the communist mindset. Similar type of dynamic. And then 4th, unlimited dominion. All of a sudden we become God. We have complete control of our bodies. We look at test tube babies. We look at surrogate mothers. We look at everything that, we can take an egg, we can take a sperm, we can make it meet in a tray and then all of a sudden put it in somebody's body and, we become God. We're the ones, making that miracle, although it's really not us. We're just taking the substances that we're given and God is making that miracle. So, he predicted all of that. It's coming true. And, we really, gosh, if you're on birth control, please, please, please look into natural family planning. It's not the rhythm method. It's not counting, this is day 16, so I'm good. If you pay attention to your body, all of a sudden, after I learned all this stuff, so much made sense. I was like, oh, so that's why this gets that way at this time of the month. Or, oh, well, that explains this. Everything just clicked. And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Monitoring my cycle and being like, oh, okay, nope, we can't today, but whatever, a few days from now, we'll be fine for whatever it is, a couple weeks. Because every relationship has periods of abstinence. It's just that natural family planning takes those days and it puts them all at once. It takes that 6-day span, and it's like, okay, here's a week. And out of love, we're going to find different ways to show each other that we love each other, which is one thing that Alec and I have now since we are waiting until we're married. And, if you have had an abortion, Christ said on the cross, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. That was me. I thankfully did not have to have an abortion, but there's a lot of other crap that I had to go through. And, Christ knows that we do some of this out of ignorance. We don't know any better. So simply, paying attention to that. If you've had an abortion, if you're on birth control, like, there is redemption. Like, you're not irredeemable. You have everything in front of you. Just seek it and you'll find. Knock and the door will be opened. Like, all the information is at your fingertips. Get online, look up natural family planning. There's going to be, it's just an online class that we're taking. It's an hour and a half or something. There's some questions and we talk about it. It's kind of gross at times because it's like sometimes too much information. I just don't want to know, but it's ultimately good. And but it includes the husband then. It includes him in this process of learning and helps us to grow together in saying, okay, I'm not alone in this. Like, all of a sudden, it's not just, like, we're going to have to talk about this. It's going to have to be something that's, okay, this is an open conversation. So, because at the end of the day, like, my body will be his and his body will be mine. Like, we're going to have that union. So I've gone a little long today. I hope that I kept your interest because this is all just really, this is so condensed. I mean, you can listen to 45-minute long talks on this and still need more. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that, you stayed engaged, stayed paying attention. I hope that you take something from this. Please, if you're taking birth control for whatever reason it is, send me a private message. If I'm a massage therapist by trade, I'm a craniosacral therapist. I understand how hormones work in the brain. I understand what's secreted where and like how all of that plays in. So if you have questions, feel free to message me. I may direct you to another site. I might, be able to offer you a little bit of my input just from the perspective that I know about the body. And I would be more than happy to help. But please just please strongly consider getting off this stuff. And I mean, all these IUDs and everything else, they're all false method. They are corrupting a perfectly operating system. And that's the last thing that we need to be doing in this society. The last thing that we need to do is take something that's working flawlessly, the way that it was made to be working, and screw it up just because we can. Just because doctors don't want to talk about, oh, hey, we know as much about birth control as the tobacco industry knew about tobacco. Like, it causes cancer. It's going to give you a 1 in 4 chance of getting breast cancer instead of 1 in 8. So it's not stuff they talk about because guess what? They make money. And then, like that shot that they give people with the HCG hormone with like measles and something else, they actually put it in your body so that your body attacks the HCG just like it would attack a foreign virus. Because it wants your own body, it makes the antibodies actually think that HCG is a virus, and so it attacks it if it starts to come into the body, because that's the hormone that comes about that helps to maintain the life. So please take this seriously. It's not a laughing matter. It's not something that, the sooner you can change your life, the sooner you can get better, the sooner that, you can really start taking those steps and getting to know your body and getting to know everything that you need to know, and including your spouse or significant other. I mean, obviously, if you're in high school, please wait. Please, please, please just wait. But if you're not going to, please get to know your bodies at least. And that way you can tell that guy. You can say, nope, I'm sorry, I can't have sex with you right now, I'm ovulating. And he's like, oh, gross, why would you tell me that? It's like, well, you want to have sex with me, don't you? Like, it's probably something we should be able to talk about. So, and then also if he's just like, oh, whatever, like, we'll be fine. Stand up to that, girl. Be like, I'm sorry, I don't want to get pregnant. And if you can't wait 5 days for me, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, because no, it's not how it works. So, yeah, just stand up to the guys, and it at least gets, you get out of that specific situation. Make sure it's something that you want to do. I recommend talking to your parents. Again, feel free to message me. I am happy to offer insight, any advice that I can for you. And like I said, I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you guys have a very blessed Sunday, and I will see you again next week. God bless.